Well, colleges sending students back home, restaurants closing, and economy basically in free fall. It seems the signs of the coronavirus pandemic are everywhere, but not at one place you would expect to see them, the region's only state-run testing site. First Coast News is on your side tonight. Our team has been tracking the data and learned that the number of COVID tests at the Regency Square Testing site have plummeted. That decline even as the death toll on the First Coast has continued to rise. It's a paradox that worries health officials who say fewer tests will translate into even more suffering. It also prompted nurses to take matters into their own hands, trying to boost testing numbers with a little do-it-yourself ingenuity. On your side's Ann Schindler reports tonight.
From long lines to empty lots. When the Regency Square testing site took over for Lot J, the goal was to increase the volume of tests and decrease the wait. 8 lanes instead of 4, a 3-day test turnaround, and still free for anybody in the state. But in the past month, the number of people getting tested at Regency has declined sharply. First Coast News has learned state officials have slashed the number of employees by 40% in just the past 2 weeks. Those employees let go because the number of patients has dropped by 80% since its peak in July. That steep decline even as the number of COVID deaths in Northeast Florida has jumped 159% in that same period. The pattern is in line with statewide data. According to the Johns Hopkins COVID database, 30,000 people are getting tested daily now compared to 98,000 just 1 month ago.
He's got a fancy stop sign.
This week, in an effort to boost awareness and testing, employees at the Regency Square site put together a do-it-yourself PSA.
Are you here to get tested today?
Yes, ma'am.
Debunking concerns that might discourage people from getting tested.
Yeah, that one guy said it took for hours and he almost ran out of gas.
And even poking fun at themselves.
Your name is Nurse Ratchet?
Yes, ma'am, Nurse Ratchet.
The State Department of Emergency Management did not yet comment on the sharp decline in testing. It did refuse to allow any of the nurses or contractors on site to speak to a reporter. Ann Schindler, First Coast News, on your side.